So, I wasn't able to talk about this earlier because I already posted last week's episode a day before the draft. Because I was really excited to finally get back to podcasting again, but anyways, I'm here talking about this now. So I was watching the draft live when I heard about this trade. My mind was blown. I was like, oh my god, holy shit, this just happened. Jimmy Butler is now a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So basically, what happened was that on draft night, we had heard rumors about Jimmy Butler potentially being traded to Boston, Jimmy Butler being potentially traded to Cleveland, and the rumors were getting so intense that, you know, there was a very high chance that Jimmy Butler was no longer going to be in a Chicago Bulls uniform. Now, the fact that he ended up in the Timberwolves really surprised me. Why? Because they did not seem to express that much interest in Jimmy Butler. But I guess I was wrong, because now they have him. Now, there's two sides to look at this. A, from the Timberwolves side. From the Wolves side, they completely won this trade. Not only did they get Jimmy Butler, who will automatically help them, they got him for a relatively cheap price. All they had to do was give up Zach LaVine, who, again, I've been advocating for them to trade him, because you can't keep all three of these guys on one team. It's just impossible to keep a core of Wiggins, Towns, and LaVine on the same team. They're too talented, they're too young, but all three of them are all one-dimensional type players. They're both offensive juggernauts. However, you need a two-way star, and I feel that the price, giving up LaVine, replacing him with Butler, is a very smart addition, because Butler is the guy who will come in and be an immediate presence for the Timberwolves. He will come in, be a two-way presence, you know, work both ends of the floor. He knows Tom Thibodeau's system. He knows the work ethic that Tom Thibodeau expects from his guys. So from that point of view, I like that. I love how the Timberwolves added him. He's going to make them better, and I really have big expectations for the Timberwolves this season. Along with that, I also like how the Timberwolves also got the number 16 pick. So that gives them another young body to fill, you know, a roster void, and they got Justin Patton as well. So from the Timberwolves, they completely won this trade. This was the best possible scenario for them. They got Jimmy Butler. They won the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes. And now you're just excited to see what this new core of Butler, Wiggins, and Towns are able to do, because I'm expecting big things from this Minnesota Timberwolves squad. So we're going to see what happens. Now moving on to the Chicago Bulls. Now for the Bulls, this was very confusing. On one hand, you can see that you can be happy that they're finally rebuilding properly, which is what I've been advocating for. But on the other hand, like, my confusion just comes at how little they got for Butler. I mean, Minnesota, the team filled with young talent, filled with draft picks that could potentially be very, very good. And all you got to show for Jimmy Butler was Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, and the 7th overall pick. That's pretty low. Now, people are saying Chicago got fleeced. No, Chicago did not get fleeced in this trade, but I don't think they won this trade anyways. I think they really they're undervalued. They got lowballed actually, and they took it, probably because that was the best offer they were getting. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because they're getting some quality pieces back. They're getting Zach LaVine, who if he can continue his growth, and I know he just had an ACL tear, but if he can recover and come back from that and be a legitimate star, I think he has all-star potential. And I think if you have a guy like that and you're rebuilding with that guy, and plus you gotta also remember Dwayne Wade's still on that team. If he's not bought out, he's still on that team. So think about LaVine learning from a guy like Wade, learning how to play the game properly. He could be a potential star you can build your team around. So I think getting LaVine in that trade is a very good move for the Chicago Bulls. Along with that, they got another quality piece in Chris Dunn. Now, I've been impressed with Chris Dunn ever since he came into the league. He got drafted by the Timberwolves from Providence. Now, he didn't have the best rookie season, and I sort of blame that on Tom Thibodeau and how he doesn't really like to give his rookies a lot of run. But I think in Chicago, they're looking for a new star point guard. And I think if Chris Dunn can properly develop and he can truly come into his own and be the future of the Chicago Bulls, I think the door is wide open in Chicago, man. And again, If Rondo is not traded, Dunn will be learning from one of the best point guards in the NBA, in Rajon Rondo. Learning how to create, learning how to lead. These can all be beneficial skills that can potentially give the Bulls another quality piece. Now, my problem with this trade stems from the draft picks that they got. Now, in this trade, the Bulls got the 7th pick, which Lauri Markkanen. Sure, he's a solid player. He's a great big for this modern NBA, but he is just not a good defensive player, and that is a big concern for me. As I feel that if you're gonna be valued that high, you gotta be developed. You have to be good on both ends of the floor, and I feel that Lauri Markkanen needs to improve on that end in order for him to be successful. But he's still a great pickup. He's still a good player. He's someone who can come in and fit Fred Hoiberg's system very, very well, because the Bulls need 3-point shooting. But I don't understand why the Bulls gave up this number 16 pick as well, because that doesn't make any sense to me. As if you're rebuilding and if you're giving up a high asset in Jimmy Butler, you're giving the Timberwolves more than what they want. They just wanted Jimmy Butler. You didn't have to give them the 16th pick. You could have said no. Jimmy Butler is a valued asset. He's someone who is a 3-time All-Star. You're making us give up our franchise guy, and he's worth 2 first-round draft picks for us. We want your pick, and we're also keeping our pick because we want to rebuild our team, and we need young talent to do so. So I think that would have been the best possible scenario. But I don't understand why the Bulls did not do this trade. Did not do that. I think they could have gotten more out of the Timberwolves. I think they could have gotten more from the Celtics actually. But the Celtics apparently did not want to trade the 2 Brooklyn picks in this deal. So they said no, which I thought was a stupid decision for the Boston Celtics, because considering how low of an offer the Bulls accepted from the Timberwolves, the Celtics could have gotten a really good deal out of the Chicago Bulls. But hey, things worked out in a way that worked for everyone else. But it is what it is, man. But I didn't understand that. I just felt that the Bulls were really, they weren't fleeced, but they were very close to being fleeced on this trade. But overall, man, for the Timberwolves, man, this is a very, very good trade. This is something that they needed. This is something that can really help them put them over the top. Now, all they need to do is just play up the expectation, and hopefully all things can go well for the Timberwolves. Now, for the Bulls, the future is bright, because now you're properly rebuilding. You also got some quality pieces in Levine and Dunn. You also got Markkanen as well. But again, I felt that the Bulls could have just gotten more. They got some quality pieces out of this trade, but they could have gotten more. And that's my biggest gripe with this trade. But overall, I like the deal. I think both sides will benefit from this, and I think Jimmy Butler, the Timberwolves, and the Chicago Bulls, all 3 of the parties will come out of this a lot better. But we'll see what happens when it happens.